Before I tell you what it actually means to wake up with purpose, let me first walk you through the difference between the two kinds of people who open their eyes every morning. Because once you see it, you will never be able to unsee it, and you will never be willing to be on the wrong side of it again. The first kind wakes up and immediately asks the world what it needs from them. Their day is assembled from the outside in, from the notifications, the requests, the demands of a schedule that other people built and that they inherited by default. They are responsive from the first breath, reactive before they have taken a single intentional step. And by the time they have finished addressing what the world needed at 7 in the morning, they have already used the sharpest hours of their cognitive day on someone else's agenda. They are busy all day and purposeless all year. They are always exhausted and never satisfied. They mistake activity for progress and motion for direction. They go to bed having done many things and built almost nothing.
The second kind wakes up and tells the world what they intend to do with this day, before the world has a chance to tell them otherwise. Their day is assembled from the inside out, from a clarity of purpose that was decided before the alarm went off, from a standard that was set before the demands arrived, from the quiet, fierce, non-negotiable conviction that this day belongs to them first, and to everything else second. They do not work harder than the first kind. They work from a different starting point, and the starting point is everything. Welcome to Motivation Daily. Let me show you 3 people who understood what it means to wake with purpose and built lives that were impossible without it.
Think about Viktor Frankl, but through a lens entirely specific to this conversation. Before the concentration camps, before man's search for meaning, before his work on logotherapy became one of the most influential frameworks in the history of psychology, Frankl was a young Viennese psychiatrist who had already developed a foundational belief that the primary human drive is not pleasure, not power, but the search for meaning. He had built a clinical practice around this idea. He had written about it. And then the Nazis took everything. His clinic, his manuscripts, his family, his freedom. And in the camps, where every external source of purpose had been methodically stripped away, he discovered that the one thing that could not be taken was the internal orientation toward meaning. The prisoners who survived the psychological devastation of the camps, not just physically, but psychologically, with their humanity intact, were almost universally the ones who had found a reason, a purpose, something they were waking up for. Even in Auschwitz, even with nothing, the ones who had a why could endure almost any how. Frankl woke up with purpose in the most impossible circumstances imaginable, and that purpose carried him out the other side and into a life of contribution that has since reached hundreds of millions of people.
Now think about Elon Musk, not as a personality, but as a practitioner of purpose-driven days. Musk has described his approach to each day as starting from the mission backward. He is not working toward a quarterly target or a product launch or a shareholder metric. He is working toward the survival of humanity on multiple planets and the acceleration of sustainable energy. Those are not small purposes. And the specific, granular, unglamorous daily work of running multiple companies simultaneously is sustained not by enthusiasm for the individual task, but by the clarity of the mission the task serves. He has spoken about sleeping on factory floors during production crises, not because it was comfortable or necessary, but because being physically present in the work was an expression of the seriousness with which he held the purpose. When you wake up with a purpose that large, the daily suffering required to serve it is not an obstacle. It is simply the cost of the mission, paid willingly by someone who knows exactly why they are paying it.
And think about Maya Angelou, the poet, memoirist, and civil rights activist, whose work has reached hundreds of millions of people across generations, and whose life
was a masterclass in the construction of purpose from the most unpromising materials. Angela was mute for 5 years as a child, having stopped speaking after a trauma so severe she believed her voice had caused harm. She was a single mother at 16. She worked as a cook, a streetcar conductor, a nightclub dancer, a sex worker, a life composed of circumstances that offered almost no visible pathway to the woman she would become. What she had, throughout all of it, was purpose. Not always articulated, not always clear, but present. A sense that her life meant something, that her voice mattered, even when she had refused to use it, that the specific and unrepeatable experience of being her was worth documenting, worth sharing, worth turning into language that could reach across every boundary of race and gender and time to find the other human beings who needed to know their own lives were also worth something. She woke up with that purpose every day she wrote, and what she built from it, the 7 autobiographies, the poetry collections, the cultural presence that made her one of the most celebrated voices of the 20th century, was assembled one purposeful morning at a time. Here is what those 3 people share, and here is what they share with the best version of you. They did not wait to feel purposeful before they acted purposefully. They did not wait for the circumstances to become inspiring before they brought their own inspiration to the circumstances. They decided, with clarity, with commitment, with the specific and daily intention of people who understood that how you begin determines what you build, to wake up oriented towards something larger than the demands of the day. Purpose is not something you find. It is something you bring. You bring it to the morning before the morning can take it from you. You bring it to the work before the work can exhaust it out of you. You bring it to the difficult days as the only force powerful enough to make the difficulty worthwhile. So tomorrow morning, before the phone, before the noise, before the world makes its first claim on your attention, I want you to answer one question. What am I building with this day? Not what am I doing? What am I building? Because the doing is what the reactive person manages. The building is what the purposeful person chooses. Wake up with purpose. Then go make the day serve it. Share this with someone who has been waking up reactive instead of intentional. Subscribe to Motivation Daily. We give you your purpose before the world takes it. Drop a comment and tell me, what is the purpose you are waking up to serve tomorrow morning? Answer the question right here. That answer is the beginning of the day before it has even started. Let's go.